Please subscribe before watching the movie. Welcome back to Movies Recapped. Nancy Stokes, a widowed retired school teacher in the film. Good luck to you. Leo Grande is eventually inspired to take action because of her lack of knowledge about good bang, and conviction that she has never had it. She comes up with a strategy that involves a hotel room and a young nookie worker named Leo Grande. Before welcoming a young nookie worker named Leo, granted to her hotel room, Nancy Stokes takes a drink. Nancy agrees when Leo asks if he can kiss her on the cheek. She informs him that a celebrity uses the same scent after he compliments her on how lovely she smells. Leo pours them both drinks and assures her that they will have a good night despite her anxiety. They have a chit-chat about music and Leo's job. While Nancy compliments him on his good looks and apprehensive, Nancy replies, "I've never had an orgasm. And following the loss of my husband 2 years ago, I vowed never again to fake one." When questioned about her desires for the evening, Leo was told not to view it as a challenge because she is not anticipating having one with him. Leo tries to reassure her by giving her a kiss because she is self-conscious about her appearance and age. That feels bad for having hired him. Leo responds to her question about what he finds alluring about by praising her mouth, neckline, and graceful shoulders. She enters the restroom to change into a negligee even though she's embarrassed. Leo expresses no shame about Noi work, but reveals that his mother believes him to be an oil rig worker. Nancy shares that she is disappointed in her adult children, especially if she finds her son boring and predictable like his father, while her daughter is not boring, as she is over the top all the time and lives in a bohemian setup. She tells him she has changed her mind, especially as she spoke a lot against soliciting for hormone sandwich as a religious education teacher. But he talks with her about it and she realizes she actually wants to, as her husband, as her only nookie partner, and he found oral nook demeaning and they never deviated from unfulfilling missionary bang for 31. Together. She breaks down in tears because she's always wanted to have oral nook. Nancy goes on to describe her most sensual experience, which occurred when she was a teenager on a family vacation in Greece, and a hotel waiter became interested in her. One night when she was alone in the garden, he started kissing and massaging her berry, before being stopped by a car's headlights and she left. The next day, Leo exchanges saliva and explores Nancy. After observing how her own story has awakened her hormones, Nancy and Leo have a second meeting in the same hotel room. A week later, as she opens the door for him, he gives him a kiss on the cheek. She has prepared a list of first-time nookie experiences starting with fellatio, despite the fact that she is yet to the. She tells him that because hiring him is incredibly expensive and she's not sure she can afford another session. After today, she would like to cross everything off her list. She responds that she doesn't consider attaining climax as achievable. When he asks why she didn't put it on the list, Leo asks if she's prepared to begin so they can significantly reduce the list. She discusses how impassionate her marriage to Leah, and how her husband never wanted to try anything new, leading her to desire to attempt anything different for a change. He continues to feel apprehensive, which is made worse by calls from her daughter. But Leo calms her down by dancing and giving her a massage after stroking at shirtless Leo, who urges her to love her own body. She is immediately overcome by the lust. She feels fearing that she lost her youth in prospective adventures for raising children. Nancy asks Lee with that as his real name and he says no and asks Nancy if that is her real name, to which he also replies, no. Leo reveals he has a younger brother in the military, from whom he is estranged. After Nancy criticizes his generation and questions whether they need a war to make them more responsible, Leo then suggests to Nancy book more sessions, but she accuses him of trying to make more money, which enrages her. Nancy sees Leo becoming aroused as he describes his work, which in turn arouses her. Finally performs fellatio on him. It's raining. When Nancy and Leo are in the same hotel room for a third session, he performs nookie on her, the second item on her list, which she enjoys, but does not bring her to climax. While talking about people who pretend to have climax during a fillet show, Leo puts Nancy's briefs back on for her. He asked her how she faked it for her husband, and after she demonstrates it, Leo laughs, telling her how believable it. Nancy compliments him on how good at his work he is, and Leo appreciates it and tells her it is always about paying attention to people. Nancy asks Leah if he is in a relationship and tells her that they don't need to worry about their lives outside of the hotel room as his service is about providing a fantasy. Leo asks her if she is dissatisfied with his service after she insists she wants them to become more acquainted. If their meeting is going to be a regular recurrence, Nancy claims to be, but she is curious about who he is outside of their arrangement. After Leo tries to change the subject by telling her he brought some Noi toys for them to dry with, she admits to cyberstalking and uncovering Leo's real Connor upset. Leo tells her not to book him again as she has not respected his boundaries, threatening to expose her as a client. She asks if they can be friends and encourages him to tell his family about his work, even offering to speak to his mother. Liam reveals that his mother tells people he is dead and storms out, returning to retrieve his. He angrily admits that his mother disowned him when he was 15. He starts talking about his mother, and once he finds his phone, he tells Nancy she'll get a refund for the time, kisses her cheek and then leaves. Nancy books Leo for a fourth session, arranging to meet in the hotel's cafe where their waitress, Becky, turns out to be her former student. When Leo enters and notices that Nancy is agitated, he tells Becky that he wants to sell Nancy his auto. Becky goes to get the coffee that Leo ordered. Nancy expresses her gratitude to Leo for giving her a newfound Philadio awakening and confidence, and tells him that she has subtly suggested him to several others by calling him the master of menopause. She acknowledges that her real name is Susan Robinson and that her experience with Leo was her first exciting activity. When Becky returns with their coffee, she interrupts them and relates a tale about Nancy calling and her pals tart because of their short skirts in school. Nancy tells Becky to get the bill and she walks away. Leo reveals to Nancy that he has told his brother about his job, reconnecting with him, and explains that his mother disowned him after catching him and several friends engaging in group fellatio. She no longer acknowledges his existence, even walking past him in the street a few years back. Nancy apologizes to Becky when she comes back with the bill for her past judgmental behavior, confessing her real relationship to Leo and recommending his services, pleasantly surprising. Becky Leo, when Nancy have one more passionate session in their hotel room, performing all the items on Nancy's list, but she hasn't yet reached the peak of excite. While Leo looks for a nookie instrument, Nancy watches him walk around with his buns uncovered and massages herself, giving herself her first climax. She thanks Leo, telling him this will be their final session as she does not need him anymore. She wishes him good luck and shakes his hand as he leaves, and the movie ends here. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.